Hi guys, Ivan here, and today I'm here for the Frozen Card Gaming channel with my teammate Alex Cancel, and he got top 32 at the European Remote YCS, and he played Swordsoul Tenyi. So Alex, go ahead, tell us something about yourself.
Uh, my name's Alex, and I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh for, I guess, a long time now, since like hat format, I guess. Um, and I have a couple uh tops, like 2017 Dallas, uh, 2020 the 3v3, and now this one. Um, you know, it was kind of hard because playing in the European event in the American time zone, so we got to wake up at like 1 o'clock in the morning. So I'll say this is probably like the hardest event I've ever played in terms of mentality and physical wise.
And Alex is first time here on our channel. He recently joined our team. He's one of our newer members, so we welcome him here on the channel as well. So me and Alex played the same deck for this weekend. We decided to play Swordsoul Tenyi. We played basically the same list card for card. I don't think you changed anything. I'm pretty sure it was the same.
Yeah.
Uh, and we just, unlike other Swordsoul Tenyi lists, we decided to play a small, I guess you could say, Halqifibrax package that made Aurodon, which included Halqifibrax and Aurodon in the extra deck and Despot 001 in the main deck. The basic idea behind of it was basically that when we got interrupted by hand traps, we just wanted to have more pushing power. It wasn't something that we always started with, but when we got stopped on our main lines of play, it just allowed us to extend further and allowed us to do more than we usually were able to. And for me, even though I didn't make it into Top Cut, it worked really well. And yeah, Alex, how did it go for you?
It was pretty good. I played last week in the American Remote Duel, and I played Virtual World Sword Soul, and that deck wasn't optimized, so I didn't know what I was going to play coming into this event because you know I did so poorly with that deck. So
Mm-hmm.
I asked Ivan what he wanted, what he was going to play. Um, because he said he played. I guess you played Tenny Swordsoul last weekend, and
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
like
yeah.
43 cards, and you said it was terrible. So I figured you'd be able to optimize the deck and it's one of those cases where I took every idea you had and I just applied it to piloting the deck.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I guess we can. Oh, actually, before we get into it, do you have any shoutouts? Do you have anyone you wish to, just give shoutouts to?
Yeah, shout outs to Frozen Card Gaming, best team in Europe. Shout outs to Zach for being my moral support. He was here the whole time with me. He was remote dueling too, but uh, he didn't do too well, so he was here just make sure had something to drink and stuff like that because it was it's kind of exhausting and tiring waking up at 1 o'clock in the morning and playing 8 rounds of Swiss and then having to wake up again and play three more and then top cut. Shout out to Grant for lending me cards, AJ lending me cards, uh, Guillermo for lending me cards, and that's pretty much it.
So let's get right into it. So I guess we'll start with the Sword Soul monsters. So just lay
Yeah.
them out.
So it's pretty standard. You have the three Long Young, uh, two Taie, three Moye, and then three Ecclesia, the honorary Sword Soul monster. Um, you know, I think this lineup works is probably the best lineup you could go for. Um, you always want to see a Sword Soul name, and that is what allows you to play. So when you don't see these, just not that good.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I'm pretty sure I agree with everything said here. Like, I don't think you can cut any names. I guess the only thing you could change about these ratios is that you'd play like a third tie, but that just isn't
yeah,
necessary because you just on nine normal summons you just brick on too many. So sticking it to like eight normal summons is just fine. Even like playing eight is a bit excessive, like compared to something like the old Dragon Link deck, but you just have to see them. Otherwise, like your deck doesn't have any, like real plays. Even though like with the Despot build, that changes by quite a lot because it gives you fiber options. You just have to play the names, and even for Pot of Desires or something like that, it just cannot be changed. And yeah, just
yeah, and you really want all the names. Like there are so many desires, and I had like one Moye left in deck, no
mhm.
Taies and a Long Young.
Mm-hmm.
and so like past turn one, you still need these cards in your deck to be able
Mm-hmm.
to do anything. Because sometimes like Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't end on turn one anymore
Mm-hmm.
right now. So just to be able to play, Ecclesia was really good. Even to like special summon Ecclesia,
Mm-hmm.
normal summon your Moye, and if it gets negated, you can just go into Beetle Fiber. So you can make a Yazi
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
clear their back row, and then you get your Taie and
Yeah.
continue from there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
then
it's
uh, Protos. Um, this card's I probably summoned this card like twice this weekend.
yeah.
Um,
Go ahead.
it was I played like Prank Kids. I played 3 Prank Kids, um, 3 birds, and 3 mirror matches. The only matchup this really won me was round one. I played against Earth Machine deck, and you just call Earth and they can't do anything.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it was pretty good just to even just summon it to and attack over stuff.
Yeah. People. Like I think the general opinion of this card is that it's like Sword Soul just has it every game. They just summon it every game. Like that's all Sword Soul does. It's only like Protos, but you'd actually be surprised that like dropping Protos is not that common because it requires a lot of resources, and sometimes you have to do like lines that you generally don't want to do that play burst into hand traps or that just maybe not be optimal. So Protos, like I'd say, is like a I don't know 35% chance to get onto the field, but when it does, usually it wins the game because you never want to do it game one blind unless you have like information on what your opponent is playing or you're like doing another combo, which the I think the players from Luxury Gaming were doing. They were playing the Auroradon build as well, but they were playing one copy of Omega in their extra deck where they would game one, they turn zero when they're starting, they would just hand loop one card of the hand with Omega, and then they had information on what to call with Protos. So like that way they could gain advantage on what to call with it blindly. But game one usually just don't drop it, and it's just like a choice when you're making boards. And then like game two, game three is where it becomes way better. But yeah, like you just have to play it, and hopefully we see this card gone because it makes the mirror not fun. Because the mirror is like really fair, but when you drop this card and when it calls water, that's when the mirror just stops being fun. It's like you can't do that much. You're limited in place. So hopefully we see the card gone so we can see more fair Yu-Gi-Oh games. But yeah,
I actually was calling light in the mirror with this card.
yeah, light is
Look,
also completely
I
fine.
think so. My issue with calling water is like sometimes they just if you call water, they can beat you with their tenure
Mm-hmm.
cards.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it, in my experience, I've lost a couple mirror matches by calling water, and
Mm-hmm.
my friends have lost a couple matches by calling water. So I you know, just call light from now on. Honestly, because the cards that beat you in the mirror match are the Boxia, Ashuna, um, some special summon Ecclesia from hand,
Mm-hmm.
um, and the Chi Chao itself. So you know, I think to each their own. Whatever works best for you, but I think
Mm-hmm.
light works best in the mirror match.
Mm-hmm. We can move on to the Tenyi package. So
So we have 3 Adhara, 3 Ashuna, 2 Vishuddha.
mm-hmm.
So I think we played more. So the third Adhara is most people don't play 3, but the whole goal of the deck was to have the Adhara in hand and special summon it, and then if you have to when you normal summon your Moye and it gets meets an Perm or an Effect Veiler, you can just go into Halqifibrax, make your summon your Despot Auroradon, and then make Yazi, and then you pop your Yazi. So it just gives you more access to Halq to keep your plays going instead of normal summon Moye and get stopped by one hand trap.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
then
and yeah.
Ryushuna is normal
Mhm.
to Vishuddha.
Yeah, basically another thing about the Adara is considering that most people play like two Adara, three Ashuna, two Vishura just because it's the standard ratio, and then like if they're playing another Tenyi, it's most of the time the water one. combined with Heavenly Dragon Circle. But since we are, as you'll see later, we're not playing Heavenly Dragon Circle, that one slot for a Tenyi opened up, and the next best Tenyi realistically is Adara, because when you like banishing one from Desires really sucks because it helps you grind so many resources. You can do like so many cool plays with Taye and like just loop names forever. Where you have to also be like picky with your Chijao banishes when you're banishing stuff, so you can also like grind next turn and back with Adara. So like losing one from Desires sometimes really hurts, because it just like sometimes just kills your grind completely. While Vishuddha, like I see a lot of people playing 3, and some people play 3 Vishuddha over like 3 Adara. But Vishuddha, okay, let's just assume that like most people when they like start the match, if they have like a hand that like does Protos, they just call Dark against you anyway, so you can't even summon this. And it's just a brick, it doesn't really do anything. So yeah, like I don't really see a reason why you'd ever play 3 of this unless you're like really unlucky with dice rolls and lose them every single time, then I can see it. But Adara is just better, helps in the grind, and as we said, it's a tuner to enter Halqifibrax. So yeah, just playing 3 was really, really solid.
I think if anything, I would just add the third shooter, like make it 3-3-3.
Yeah, yeah.
Because like you always want. The point of this deck is you always want to see a Tenyi,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of its name, because Vessel is super important. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so there was a couple games where I had no Tenyi access, but I had Vessel, and just I think maximizing the amount of names you can play would be better.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing. If the format stays kind of the same once the ban list comes, that I'll be looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
hopefully they get rid of this card and that frees up a spot in the deck.
Yeah, we are right now on 41 cards in the deck, and I personally didn't want to go over 40-41, because something that people do is they ask you for a deck count, so then they like try to get information for Protos that way. So if you like say like 43-44, they like usually assume you're on Sword Soul, so that can be like a bit iffy. So I didn't want to go over 40, also just for like consistency reasons to just see my power cards more often. I didn't want to lower my chances of seeing hand chips in a bird matchup or stuff like that. So if we get like a free spot in the deck, something like Protos just being gone, definitely add a third Vishuddha. It just adds consistency with Vessel. But besides that, we couldn't do much about it. We just had to keep the deck count low. So yeah, let's just go on.
And the only brick in the deck, really.
The
Zero
robot.
zero one.
Yeah.
Like the whole between day 1 and day 2. I didn't banish it with desires at all, and I drew it in game 1 of top 32.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel so bad when you see that card in your hand. It's like, well, my hand wasn't really that playable, but it could have been, another like an Ash or one of my go second cards because he's
Mm-hmm.
playing Bird. Um, but one of the necessary pieces that you have to play to be able to play through hand traps and stuff.
Yeah, there's not really too much to say to it, and it's also like not that terrible sometimes to draw. Like if you start with like a Tenyi plus Vessel and you get to Fiber and Fiber gets like Imperm, you just like normal this and you just blow them out completely. So it's like sometimes it's like fine to draw, but yeah, it's just like the brick that's like it's a brick, but it's not like the worst brick ever. So it's like not like a Cold Wing you'd have to play for or done. And that's also another thing. The original idea for this entire deck, and I'll give some shoutouts here, I guess. It was from Ben Krutzkamp. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your last name. Bank 1W and Dueling Book. He played this version of the deck, but he played a lot more. Like he played Cold Wing and the Resonator card. It was like a lot more bricky. So after like discussing with Nesh as well, shout out to Nesh. After discussing this with Nesh as well, it just became logical that like you just play only one despot. You don't really need the bricks. You just get to push the power that you need from just Aurora down basically, and you minimize all of the other bricks, and like the deck works 10 times better than it used to work before. So yeah, that's where the idea for this came from. So yeah, we can go on.
And one more thing, there's
Mm-hmm.
also multiple times in tournament where this was in the graveyard from doing the Hell combo,
Mm-hmm.
but you want to play around the Biru, but there's where I had to banish Adhara multiple times to get a resource back
Mm-hmm.
before I wouldn't have any non-effect monsters on the board. So it also came up just where you could just summon this back with the Baxia instead
Yes, 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 yes,
and
yes. That does come
make
up.
the Chow Fang that way.
Yes, that does
So
come up.
yeah,
Yep.
it happened to me 2 or 3 times in the tournament. And it was really just
Yeah.
because I had to banish Adhara, and then I didn't have the level 1 to play around Nibiru.
Yes, yes, that
And
happened
so,
to me as well. Yeah.
and up next, are going second card. So 3 Ash, 3 Droplet, 3 Imperm.
Mm-hmm.
So, I really wanted these droplets to be Veilers,
Mm-hmm.
but it actually droplets came up more than Effect Veiler did. So I played 3 bird decks, and this card just does better against that deck because you get to play through their board, so they feel safe, and you just drop droplets on them, and they're not safe anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep.
Impermanent Ash are standard. The only thing is you could probably play Effect Veiler or droplets. I look droplets also came up against the Prank Kid matchup the last round of Swiss. He Mystic Mind me, and he was Lamsey Rocket Ride burning me every turn, and so I drew this, and I was able to just droplet away my monsters, so till we had the same amount of monsters, and outed his Mystic Mind, and I was just able to win from there because a lot of times ranked players think Mystic Mind's enough to get them there.
Yeah, another thing about the hand traps is I think a lot of people stopped playing Ash for some reason or another, but I think Ash is just like such a good hand trap. It covers so many
Mm.
matchups and so much variance, and like everyone's playing some card of pot card, so it's not like it'll ever be dead. You can like hit everything in the format. Like it's not the best thing ever in the mirror match, but there's like valid targets for it. That's and especially like everyone now being on Vessel again, and Vessel being such a bomb card going second. Like if they summon any Tenyi, Ash is really really strong. And when it comes to droplets, I think it's just every time you see that card going second, like if they don't have like some sort of FDK like D barrier or something in the mirror match, just straight up win. Like you just break their board and you just Droplet is really really strong. So it was really good for me.
Also, Ash can make Halqifibrax.
Yes, yes, yes. It can. It can also make Barona. It can make Barona with a Tenyi. It's really good.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on.
After that, we got the spells. So we have 3 Desires, 3 Vessel, and 3 Emergence.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's kind of standard, I think. If your deck can exploit playing Desires, you should play Desires. Um,
Yes.
and the Sword Soul, in this build, really, you only care about your Despot 001. It's the only card. But you don't have to play the How combo every game. So it doesn't really matter. You play so many. You just want to be able to see 2 brand new cards sometimes. Because sometimes you'll have like a Moye, but nothing to reveal with it. Um, or you have you just do your combo and then you draw into your hand traps. Um, Vessel was really good. It actually ate a lot more ashes up than I thought it would.
Mm-hmm.
Because people just fear this card.
Yeah, it's
Just
really
activating it
scary.
is just any 10U plus this is a way to a Sword Soul name. That's what I really liked about the deck is because a lot of the times beforehand, without this card, 2 10Us isn't really the full combo. Where with this card, this and any 10U, you can Halqifibrax and it'll get you your missing Sword Soul name. Like it'll let
Mm-hmm.
you go into Taie and then you can make Boxia dump the your Moye and do all your fun shenanigans with that.
Mm-hmm. Another thing to mention is every time you open, for example, you open Ashana plus Vessel, um, Vessel, like the effect that sends worms from the deck to the graveyard, you can start with the whole Aurora and Halqifibrax combo. You can send stuff like Long One, you can send stuff like Protoss, and you can just search it
Yeah,
because when you get to the Aurora combo, we'll explain it later. Banishing stuff that this sends and then just adding it back with Adara just searches every worm in your deck. So you can have
yeah.
like a lot more Protoss access and everything else that you need in your deck. So this card was really, really, really key and really, really broken. I wish I could play like 5 copies of it.
Yeah, it is way better than Circles.
Uh,
For the longest time, I was playing
yeah.
Circle because I thought like more people were playing Imperm and Veiler, so I just thought being able to dodge those was so uh, important. But then after playing this deck that Ivan gave me, it was just seeing the impact that this card can make. Because if they veil your Mo, because they veil your Moye or your Taye or whatever, this just allows you to get to Halqifibrax, which just lets you keep playing. Because a lot of
Yeah,
times you normal summon Moye and you get Veilered or Impermed and you just pass.
yeah,
Unless your
yeah,
hand is really good or you have a long young and everything.
yeah. It's just this card just explodes on them. It's really good. Yeah,
And the last two cards are Blackout, which is mandatory, and we decided to play Order. This is the
yeah,
41st card.
yeah.
Um,
Go ahead.
no, not gonna lie, I drew this card a lot this weekend. Like, a lot.
Yeah, so I put order in because I was a bit scared of because with no circle you kind of do that to mine. Mine becomes a lose condition. I was a bit scared of mine deck, so I was like, let's just play like the one order just so we're safe into mine. Like we don't lose a random game that we don't need to lose, and also like the random one order. Well, not like you can play more, but the random order, it also fixed some of the side pattern issues where we just like have nothing better to take out, but now you have like this card you can take out. Ideally, I think I moving forward, and something that I missed a lot in this tournament was a second blackout. I think second blackout really does come up, and it feels really really nice to play. So it's something that I'd like consider to play in the future. But yeah, like for this tournament, one order, one blackout, just stand there, and it was like really really good. So yeah, can't order
Yeah.
can't be bad.
Like sometimes just going cheat shell search blackout is enough to win the game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel like most of the time blackout is like really good into like it's just a really strong interruption. Like into most of the format, I don't think it's ever bad. It's like never bad to draw it, and like helps with the grind and stuff. So just playing two blackout down the road might be like a consideration. So yeah.
And I guess we'll go to the extra deck. So for the extra
Hmm.
deck, we have three monk, the one shaman for Tenyi stuff, and then for our sinker stuff is Yazi, double Boxia, Chao Fang. Two Boxia really does come up like every game.
It does,
Just
yeah.
being able to, because there's every so like most of the time going first, you're always going to summon the Boxia. Just especially when you go into Halqifibrax and stuff, just let you keep going and let you summon back the monsters that you need to summon, like your Moye that you sent off the Taie. So you can just drawing with Moye is so important sometimes.
Hmm.
Let you draw into cards like Order, Pot of Desires, Ash, Imperm, Droplet. So I really like two Buxia, and then we got two Chichao and the Ching Ying for the Sword Soul Synchros.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't really summon Ching Ying this weekend. I prioritized Baron over it. I just think, well, I like Baron more than I like that card, but it did come up a couple times to, my opponent's desires, I desires, and they had like
Suddenly game.
a Verte on board that they paid 2,000, so I was able to bait out the DPE and then be able to summon this, burn them for 12. So they're at 48 already. They started their turn off at 48, and you just have a monster that's 48 that can attack into a Verte that's 0.
Hmm.
So it was good for that scenario. And then our generic synchros are the Draco Berserker and Baron.
Hmm.
Can't really say much more about those Barons. Baron, you get your negate, and then to let you reoccur your resources, summon back out Ecclesia from the graveyard or Taie.
Did it
And
ever come up for you that you made a monk with the Draco Berserker? I did it once, and my opponent was like so surprised, like, "Wait, you can do that? Like, what? How can you make monk with Draco Berserker? Is that a thing?" And I was like, "Yeah, you can." It actually won me the game. It was like really relevant. So I don't know if it ever came up for you.
no, I don't even think I summoned Draco Berserker once
Oh,
this
really?
weekend. Yeah, I just was able to push through with the Boxias and Chicho and
Hmm.
stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's times where you do have to go into it, like when you have to push damage over monsters.
Hmm.
But if your Boxias resolve, you just get to clear away the threats, and um, wasn't really too much things threatening this weekend that way.
Hmm.
And then finally we have Needle Fiber or Halqifibrax and Auroradon.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of people don't know is you contribute three monsters to add a trap back from your graveyard. And I one time I was able to just add my blackout back, and that was able to just seal the victory for me.
Hmm. So how was the whole
And then
package for you this weekend?
I yeah I missed Omega, but I think this was just fine. So a lot of people just play like two of the monk, but I think three comes up more than just the level 8 synchro that you would play in its place.
Hmm.
But you know, I really Halqifibrax was able to save many games with just being stopped, or when you go second, you get to make a Yazi and get rid of a back row or something, or when they Nibiru you, you can special add Hara and make the Halqifibrax and get
Yes.
to continue from there. So that was like the biggest thing. You sure you go, you do like Chichao, Baron, and then they have like Nibiru Imperm. Then you can just, if you have an add Hara, you can special add Hara, and then you go and you get to end on, you can make like a Draco Berserker, I guess, in that scenario.
Hmm.
But it was pretty good. I'd play it again. I think the extra deck was perfect, and in the main deck, the only thing I would change is try to fit in a third Vishuda. Um,
Hmm.
but outside of that, I think it was all good.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that I know that played this version of the build, they played double monk, and instead of the third monk, they played one omega. It comes up in the combo where you check their hand for Protoss game one, and it's like pretty good in the Shadol matchup where you get to bait out Schism and then you can like Imperm Winda or something. So it's like really good in those scenarios. But we felt like having the third monk for the grind because you're not like here's like okay, one thing that we really cannot understate and like the whole point of this combo is that it helps you push through hand traps. It's not like something you start with and then like you get hand trapped on and then you play from there. It's the other way around. You try to bait out hand traps on your summons, your normal summons, and like play as much as you can. And then when they stop you, that's when you push into this combo. So we realized that, or well, we at least figured that if that's the way that we're going to play it, that it's better to have triple monk because when we're grinding, it's just gonna come up way more over the omega, and we just game one you don't have to realistically do the game one check for Protoss because okay, what if you like hit I don't know droplets from their hand? Like what are you calling then? So it's like wasted information because you don't always have to hit guaranteed knowledge, right? So we just decided that having three monk across the board is just gonna be way more consistent and way better, and we just went with it.
And for the side deck, we side decked three gammas and driver. Um, really like this card this weekend. I pretty much put it in almost every game 2 and 3 that I
Yes,
could. Except
yes, yes.
you can even put it in going first, and I did a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just because there's decks like the Prinked deck that plays a lot of hand traps and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't want to lose to Ash or Droll and Lockbird on my Ash on Desires or Ash on my Emergence or Droll after I add with Desires or Emergence.
Mm-hmm.
So Hammett was really clutch. Um, this is the only spot in the side deck I think could be a flex. Uh, three Nibiru.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, like this could be whatever you want, really. I
Yes.
like Nibiru because a lot of people don't really expect Nibiru anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and so you can just a well-timed Nibiru is uh, pretty good. Just being able to stop it's not really that good versus the bird deck. I found out because they just get to keep playing, but um, it worked this weekend. Got able to Nibiru prank kids a couple times.
Yeah, it's just like one of those cards where it's like I guess you just in these three slots you just play like a handful of choice. You can play like DD Crow, you can play Joran Lockbird, but I think the other 12 cards in the side deck like must be in the side deck. They're like very very standard.
Then after that in the side deck we have spell and trap removal. We have Harpy's Feather Duster, three Cyclones, and Reboot. Yeah, I think this is the right number for removal. And so for the longest time in these spots, I was playing Lightning Storm, but more and more times I was losing to Shadal, the Invoke, the Alistair deck, and it was because I wasn't able to get rid of the window or prevent the window from coming out. So I
Mm-hmm.
think Cosmic was just way better, and then being able to Cosmic like a Mystic Mine after all my monsters were up. That happened several times this weekend. Was better,
Mm-hmm.
and then you definitely need red reboot because there's a lot of cards like Deep Barrier and the Harpy's Trap card um, that
Yep.
you don't want resolving against you.
Yep.
Uh, you know, I drew it a couple times and it was pretty good. Um,
Yeah,
my only
reboot.
loss in
Mhm.
tournament is because I rebooted him and I wasn't able to kill him,
Oh
and he just
man.
had like revolt imperm judgment.
Oh man. Yeah. Reboot, I think you just have to side in the mirror match right now. Like barrier is so prevalent that if you don't see reboot, you just lose on the spot. And that's where a consideration for a card like the other consideration that I had for this deck for this tournament, but I didn't have enough time to test and figure it out, was just straight up playing Crossout Designator. I know that card, like a lot of people are down on it, but Crossout hitting barrier, Crossout hitting cantrips when you go first, it's really massive. Like even token collector or something like that, Crossout would be really, really strong. I was just like really scared of the barrier, but I figured I'll just like maybe just the way to approach the barrier was to prevent them from playing. So when they barrier you and you have to pass, if they don't have follow up and they just pass back or like they end on a weak board, you can just break them. So just hand trapping them is maybe better, but I think you still completely have to play a reboot to try to stop barrier because you can't always rely on drawing hand traps. So yeah.
I'm not. Harry wasn't even the bigger issue. I was more scared of the Harpy's feather
Yeah,
storm.
yeah.
Yeah,
That card is
yeah,
also
that's
fucked.
just like they just win if they activate that card.
Yeah, that
And
card is fucked.
really good. And then the last three cards are the barrier.
Yeah, of
I
course.
think the game is in a point in time where it kind of reminds me of Zodiac format, where everybody was playing this card or like Floodgate Trap Hole
Mm-hmm.
for the mirror matches. It's just like this card is so impactful versus the mirror match, and then it crosses over into other decks like the Shadal Invoke deck or the Bird Up deck or even Drytron if you like don't really have anything to go first in the side deck versus Drytron, but you can put these in, take out your maybe like going first. I didn't really want to see like droplets or stuff
Yeah,
versus
take out
the deck.
droplets. Yeah.
Take out droplets, um, and sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I took out the 001 because it's like I really just rather not have to worry about anything and just put these in and
Mm-hmm.
desires away and draw into this.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
it was pretty good.
yeah, I think the
Uh,
format just became worse because of the barrier. Like, it just went
it's
downhill.
just a cancer
Yeah, it's just
for
really
Yu-Gi-Oh
bad.
right now.
Yeah,
It's
it's
let's say
really bad.
it's like back in 2017 in Zodiac format. People it was 3D barrier, three floodgates, and the whole point was to stop you from.
Yeah,
I don't think
it's
that's pretty healthy. I don't think that's healthy for the game.
yeah,
Um,
it's really really bad. All right,
I do
so do you
have
have a
my
tournament
rounds and
report?
yeah, I do
All
have my
right.
rounds and what I played against and what country the people were from. 'Cause I've never played a Europe YCS before, so it was interesting to learn where all the people were from. So round one, I played against the Earth Machina deck, um, and that was 2-0, and the guy was from the UK. I just don't think that deck does a lot of nothing, and
Yes.
Protos handled it pretty well. He did misplay a couple times, not locking himself into Earth Machines when he could have the rank 9 that banishes a card from my hand or from
Mm-hmm.
the field, and then make a Zeus.
Mm-hmm.
So that cost him the match. And then round two was a Tenyi Swordsoul, and that was 2-1. That guy was from Italy. Game three put me down to one card in hand, and I drew a Shuna for turn, and he didn't
Okay.
negate the Shuna effect from hand when I revealed. So he allowed me to get to a monk, and the last card in my hand was Vessel, so I was just able to win from there.
Mm-hmm.
Round three was versus Invoke Dogmatica, and when that went 2-1, uh, I only won that game because I had order all three games. Um, that guy was mad. He was from Italy. He called me a cheater. Just unfortunate for him.
Oh
Round
well.
four was my first Prank Kids matchup. I beat that guy 2-1. Game one. Uh, this deck isn't really suited to beat Prank Kids game one because Imperm and Droplets are just terrible
Yeah.
versus that deck.
Yeah, they
So
are.
you just most of the time you concede your game ones to Prank Kids, and then game two and three you side in your Nibiru's and your Gammas
The real hand
and your
traps.
Cosmics. Yeah, and you know and then you just blow them out from there. And then game three, he set two and passed, so that was
Nice.
pretty much it.
Nice,
And he was
nice.
from New Zealand. He was probably my nicest opponent the whole day.
Mm-hmm.
Round five was Bird Up. Game one, I won because I made the Baron, Chichao, had Ash, Imperm, Droplet, and Blackout.
Okay.
So he didn't have enough cards in hands to play. And then
Okay.
I sided in to go second, and he made me go first. And um, this is the game where the Hal combo really saved me because he stopped my Moye effect. I was able to make a Halqifibrax and then continue to play, and I was able to. Well, he Nibiru'd me, and I had the Adhara. I was able to make a Halqifibrax and do the whole thing, and the Tai came out, and I was able to make a Chowfeng and pop my Chowfeng with the Rorodon and search an Ash, and I was able to Ash and Gamma him and just not die, and then I top decked Imperm for game against him.
Mm-hmm.
Round 6 was my second Prank Kids matchup, and I won that one 2-1. It was pretty much like the first round. The first Prank Kids I played beat me game 1 because I saw the Droplets Imperm. Game 2, Nibiru, Ash, and Gamma and Cosmic put in work. And then game 3, he set 2 past.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Interesting.
he was Italian as well. Round 7 was a Tenyi Swordsoul. That was my first loss in Swiss, 1-2. This one was my fault. I forgot game 1. I broke his board and I forgot to burn him with the Long Young because I'm so used to just synchroing for a 10 with Long Young that I didn't realize when I synchro for a 7, Long Young
Yeah,
still
yeah,
gets
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
effect. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that guy beat me. Round 8 was Bird Up, and I won 2-0. Um, game 1, he started with Normal Summon Cobalt into Barrel Canary, into Almirage Barrel Canary, and if they just are locked into XYZs, you really have nothing to worry about. Um, it's easier to just win that game.
Yep.
Uh, I had game 2. I think I had like Imperm, Ash, Nibiru, Gamma, and
Okay.
Emergence.
Okay. Nice hand. Nice hand.
Yeah, and then round 9 was I don't know how this guy got this far. He was playing PK.
Okay.
I 2-0'd him, and that deck just sucks.
Fair,
It just
fair.
Protos effect. Um, round 10 was my second loss in Swiss. So this was, I guess, my third Lyrillist Tri Brigade matchup, but I would probably call this a Tri Brigade with a Lyrillist package. I think he
Oh,
played like three Warbler, one Cobalt, 3 Bird Call, and he played a heavy Tri Brigade with like Revolt, 2 Revolts, and 3 Kids, and 3 Nervals, 3 Fractals.
yeah, the guy
And
ended up getting second place.
really,
Yep.
he was in the finals.
Yep.
Uh, so game 1 I won. Game 1 I won. Game 2, this is the game I rebooted him and I wasn't able to kill him. And then he had Imperm, Judgment, Revolt.
Mm-hmm.
And then game 3, he literally got to pick all 5 cards in his hand and all 5
Yeah.
cards in my hand.
Yeah.
His hand was like Nibiru, Ash, Imperm, Bird Call, Kit. And my hand was
Jesus
like
Christ.
Triple Desires, Tai, Vishuda.
Jesus
So,
Christ.
and he
That's
ashed my desires.
holy.
Unfortunate. And then round 11. Oh, that guy was Italian, the
Yeah,
Tri
yeah, yeah.
Brigade guy. And then round 11 was my third Prank Kids matchup. This one was a little different from the other ones. He Mystic Mined me game 1, and then he outed his own mine, and it cost him the game. Like,
Okay.
he could have just Lampsey's rocket me the whole time, and I would have lost. Game 2, he had cross out from Ash, and I lost. Cross out, and then he also had talents.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then game 3, Desires got ashed, uh, but I was able to ash him back, and I was able to win that way.
Based.
Ash for Ash, and that guy was Italian as well, so I placed 13th after Swiss. And then in Top Cut, I played Jimmy Yee. He was playing the Bird Up deck as well, and he just 2-0'd me, Savage, no mercy. Um,
Savage.
yeah, I had was able to imperm the Tri Brigade monster to, try to mitigate the damage that could happen. Because
Mm-hmm.
I think the F-Zero is easier to play through than
Yes.
a Apex Avian, because the Tenyi cards deal with that so well.
Yes. Yes.
But I just didn't have enough cards. My 6 cards weren't, or my 5 other cards weren't enough to play through the rest of the board.
Mm-hmm.
And then game 2, I made my second misplay in the tournament, and I discarded my Taye with Long Young instead of my Moye, and set order any droplet bird call combo.
Oh man, that is
Yeah, if I had just discarded the Moye, I'm pretty sure I would have won that game.
that is what it is, man. And yeah, I'm happy for you. I'm happy you made it that far, regardless of what happened in Top Cut, and we'll just get him next time. Next time it's ours, man. That's it. Thank you for coming over, and yeah, I wish you the best, man. I hope to see you in the future on the channel again.
Thanks, Ivan, and thanks for the deck.
No worries, man. And yeah, everyone, thank you for watching this video. We hope that you will leave a like, a comment down below if you have any questions, and feel free to subscribe. And yeah, take care. Bye bye.